regardless what aim.
Bitcoin closes and is trading above the baseline. Is this the moment the whales have been waiting for? Altcoins continue to report modest gains as some sound the alarm that alt season in its full form is here. Hackers descend on BitMEX, traditional markets and Forex are interesting, and Bakkt announces a test launch on July 22nd. All this and more in today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Let's get cracking. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Today recorded live for you Thursday, June 13th, 2019. Your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for professional traders. This episode of Breaking Bitcoin is brought to you by us. If you are new to trading or an experienced trader looking for something better and you want to learn a system that works in all market conditions, be sure to head over to the premium info page on our website and check out all that we have to offer. The Pathways to Profit strategy building course designed to teach you how to construct your own trading system, proprietary indicators and strategies, custom spreadsheets and tools, educational content in audio and video form covering topics from technical strategy, money and risk management, to psychology and lifestyle, in addition to reliable setups for a team of analysts. Be sure to sign up and push your skills to the next level today. For all that and more, head over to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. All right, guys, quick update on the trading group. So our next lesson of the current module will be launching soon. Strategy testing in PineScript. We'll be teaching our members how to use TradingView's built-in strategy tester in Pine to automate their back testing of their chosen initiator for both percent profitability and win-loss ratio. We improved our concierge bot even more last night for subscriptions to notifications. So you can go into the premium bot spam channel and subscribe or unsubscribe from the analyst of your choice. This will be updating the onboarding documentation for new members as well to reflect these new features. And again, this was a quality of life improvement. Okay, guys, we're going to have a trading competition. So for the members in our group, excuse me, let me start over. So ByBit has been kind enough to offer us a trading competition. So this is available to members of our Discord community who have signed up with our affiliate or referral link, or are members of our premium trading group. So it's just a friendly competition to have some fun and see who can stack the most ROI up in about 2 weeks. If you would like to sign up and participate in the competition, sign up at ByBit at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com, or click the link in the description down below. Make sure to also be a member of our Discord, discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com, and send me a DM with your UID on ByBit so I can coordinate with ByBit staff and get you on the leaderboard. And guys, make sure this is fun. This is designed to be fun, okay? This is not a serious competition. So don't take on any extra risk just to see your name stacked higher in the leaderboard. Trade the way that we always trade, safely and conservatively, and just have fun with the competition if you're going to take part. So I want to thank our current Discord Nitro boosters. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. We had a couple more yesterday, so you guys are absolutely awesome. Shout out to you guys. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Alex in particular. And Derek Crypto Meister. You guys are so fantastic. I really appreciate that. If anybody wants to continue to help the server, we still need about 4 more Discord Nitro boosters. If you have Discord Nitro and you're a member of our Discord and you would like to support us, we will get enhanced audio clarity for our voice chats, whether we're doing live VIP trading, whether we're in the regular live voice chat, whether you're just chatting with friends. We'll also get enhanced audio size sharing so we can upload larger files, and more emojis because everybody likes that as well. You guys can get Discord Nitro and boost our server. I'd highly appreciate that. Okay, update as well. We will not be doing the show Saturday or Sunday. Okay, so this Saturday or Sunday, we will not be here. I'm going to do my best to have some pre-recorded content for you guys to sink your teeth in, most likely talking about psychology, most likely talking about money management, or talking about technical strategy, the things that I specialize in. This is the core of my life. So, the reason we're not going to be here Saturday or Sunday is because my 2 oldest children are now out of school, and it is time for the annual pilgrimage to Six Flags. That is what we do. So we're going to be taking the weekend off. I am obligated to do something fun for my children at least once a year. So we're going to be going on the annual pilgrimage down to Six Flags. So I'll let you guys know if I'm not back on Monday, that means I died on the Batman, and it was a good way to go out. So with that being said, let's head over to the live scene. And here we go. Here is what the day in the market looks like today. We've got some big bubbles on the bubble chart today. So AOA, EGT, NRG, and which is interesting is I keep getting tips on Discord from NRG. So I know, shout out to Mr. Ether. I think you're the one that invited me to that Discord server. So cool beans. QDM up quite a bit, BTM up a bit, BSV pumping. It was about 10.4 earlier, so currently must be moving up. Loopring and Maximine down 40. Now, Maximine's one of those interesting coins because there's days when it's up 20, up 20, up 20, down 40, up 20, up 20. It's interesting coin. Again, I don't really trade anything that's like that. Mona up 2.4, BNB up 3.1%. That was a position that I entered into yesterday was BNB. So Elijah Finch says, party, have fun, buddy. Well, I hope to have some fun, man. I enjoy it. This is the second year that it'll be Six Flags. It's the one time it's really the one time of the year that I also get to link up with my best friend because we rarely get to see each other. He's a carpenter. He's a very skilled carpenter. I guess actually the correct term would be a master craftsman. So he makes beautiful, ornate grandfather clocks out of wood. He makes desks and benches, all custom ordered. He's a fantastic craftsman. I have some of his work here. I'll show it to you guys sometime. And it's just a really good opportunity to see my friend. And guys, in trading in general, this lifestyle that we live, is one of the most stressful and psychologically demanding jobs that there can be, even with the way that we trade at times. So it's very important that we have designed our trading and our occupation in such a way that we are able to also enjoy life and make it all worthwhile. I love trading. I love the grind. I love waking up every single day, looking at my positions. I love executing my daily scans every evening. I love entering into positions, and I love the success that I get from the system that I've created. The way that I trade is very stress-free. It's no nonsense. It's no frills, and it just works, right? If it doesn't work, I can figure that out through the data that I get from my trading journal, from the feedback loop that I've created, and I know how to adjust my system to get better results. I know how to create strategies from the ground up. I know the components that need to go into a profitable strategy. I've tried dozens of different ways to trade. I've traded price action. I've traded reversals. I've traded trend following. I've traded reversals within the trend. I've traded news. I've traded sentiment. I've even tried to get inside information. And I haven't found a method that is as consistent as the way that I trade now. Kevin Stewart, what's going on, my friend? Throw the diamonds up. Elijah Finch, I'm a wannabe blacksmith. Awesome, dude. I'd love to see some of your work, man. Send me over a cup. I love lamp. Going on Cryptopic. All right, so yes, this is the first time you'll ever see me drinking out of a godforsaken water bottle, but running a little bit behind today. Okay. So let's, as we normally do, head on over to sandrasires.com and pick a YouTube commenter from yesterday to tip them some crypto. Obviously, yesterday's winner was Carolina Zoo. Carolina, you haven't DM'd me in the Discord. If you don't DM me, you can't get your crypto. All right, so make sure you're in the Discord and comment on today's video, and you will have the opportunity to get gifted some crypto tomorrow. So we're just going to randomly pick a winner. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Steve C says, Justin, I missed it. Question. So Litecoin is overbought, but Ethereum and Bitcoin are not trading near 50 on the RSI. Big mistake if I split my money between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Thank you. So I don't utilize the RSI in that way. That's not to say that you can't. If I were going to utilize the RSI, which again, I dislike the RSI. I think that it's a bad indicator. Gabe Anderson says, boo. Let's see here. Big mistake if I split my money between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So what you can use the RSI as is a centered oscillator. So essentially you can set a dashed line or any line that you want at the 50 mark, and you take trades when RSI moves up to the upside and take trades when RSI moves down to the downside. That's my preferred method of using any indicator that is designed to catch reversals, for example, which is how most people utilize RSI. And again, I've already described in detail, and I go over that more in the course, exactly why trading reversals is not the way to trade. Raw reversals against the trend, reversals within the trend and in the direction of the dominant trend is a more favorable way and can often give you really good entries. You guys are fairly well aware, for those of you who are longtime viewers of the show, exactly the types of reversals that we are allowed to take, the way that we trade. But I would not. So let's break that down just a little bit. So first off, congratulations, Steve C. Hit me up in the Discord and I'll tip you some crypto, man. But what I would say to this question is your concern here is that Litecoin is overbought, but Ethereum and Bitcoin are not trading near 50 on the RSI. So I'm not exactly sure where they're trading on the RSI, but essentially if they were trading over 50, then that would, in this case, be a signal to go long. I would recommend another initiator or another entry indicator. So is it a big mistake if I split my money between Ethereum and Bitcoin? So I am not in a Bitcoin or Ethereum position at this point in time. Let me clarify that. I am in an Ethereum position, but it's not Ethereum to USD. It's not a leveraged position. So is it a big mistake if you split your money between Ethereum and Bitcoin? It's not, but I would not recommend taking all of your capital and investing in Ethereum and Bitcoin unless you want to be an investor. There's nothing about the recent price action that would change my strategy or feelings about how I would want to invest in this particular stage of the market cycle. There's nothing really special about what's happened. Bitcoin is continuing to consolidate. It has the potential now to put in bullish appreciation. However, we're not getting a signal yet. We'll see what happens when we get over to the charts. So I don't have a problem with you taking an Ethereum or Bitcoin position as a trader, but that is not splitting your money between Ethereum and Bitcoin. You need to put the correct amount of capital into Ethereum and Bitcoin that is going to allow you to maintain your risk percentage. Don't treat it differently than any other trade, is what I'm trying to say. Dr. Angie Stones, what's going on? How is my dad? He's actually doing pretty good. He was pretty weak this morning, but he's in good spirits, and he is learning how to do his own morning routine better and better and better every single day. So I'm really excited for him and just trying to be his cheerleader, basically, which is my job. And without going into too nitty-gritty details, he's got an OT over there right now, occupational therapist, and she is, because with his operation, there's certain ways that you got to take showers, or special ways that you got to take showers. So he's like learning that, and it's pretty cool to see that he's doing well. So he's doing well. Thank you so much for the question. Okay, so with that being said, let me scroll up here. Let's get over into Bitcoin and LINKUSDT firing off for me. All right. So here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and we'll go to our data window and then pop that out for just a second. So let's slide the chat over here for just a brief moment. Okay, good. All right, so here we are on the daily, and what do we see? We are getting a long signal from MTLBTC. I hope so, Angie. I do my best. We are getting a long signal from MTLBTC. So let's take off our support and resistance lines for a moment and just look at price action right now in relation to our indicators. I think I want to be this way. No, this way. Hi, camera. Okay, looking good. Not perfect exactly how I'd like it, but I'm okay with it. So we are getting a long signal from MTLBTC. Now let's look at what happened. We did close above the baseline yesterday, and what was really critical, what was really important for me, is waiting for that daily close. Because if you looked where the daily closed, I ended up not having to expend nearly as much money if I would have panic sold, like a lot of individuals most likely would have, who had been in the same position that I was in. Again, every single trade is going to be executed with no emotion. Doesn't matter whether it's a winning trade or a losing trade. I am not the type of person who panic sells if I see price booking towards my stop loss. I will never do that. I will let my stop loss get hit, because that is how I position the trade in the first place. There are certain things that need to happen for me to take action, and price making a run away from or towards my stop loss has no indication on that, has no bearing on that, because that's not going to be statistically significant over time. If you start allowing individual moments in the market, which every moment in the market is unique, to start dictating your actions as a trader, to influence when you step into the market and adjust something or modify your position, you're going to get less consistent results over time. And what you really need is to be executing all your activities mechanically, so that when you review your trades, you have a consistent data set. If you are taking profits differently on this trade and exiting a trade because it's running for your stop loss on this trade, but not on these trades, and you're kind of doing different things in every trade. So maybe some trade you're like, okay, I have a system and I have a strategy, and I know that I'm supposed to take profit here and take a loss here. And then all of a sudden, maybe because an indicator does something that you were thinking about incorporating in your strategy, like say, for example, if you have a indicator with two lines and maybe they cross, for example, and that's not your exit indicator or your entry indicator, you decide to take action, but that's not what you do consistently, you're not going to have a data set that is reliable. It's not going to give you any information when you analyze that data set, and you're not going to be able to figure out verifiably, statistically relevant, what you were doing right and what you were doing wrong. So your entire structure needs to be methodical, needs to be mechanical, needs to be robotic, because if it is not, then again, you run into that exact same problem. You need to be executing your actions consistently to get consistent results about what you are doing in the market. So, exited my Bitcoin position last night. That was a losing trade. The last 2 trades that I've taken on Bitcoin have been losing trades. The previous 6 were winning trades. So I'll be concerned if we, for some reason, maybe get up to 3 or 4. I don't think that that's likely to happen. Of course, it could. Losing streaks do occur with even the best trading system. However, and this is a comment that I wanted to make yesterday, but I didn't really feel the necessity to, when we talk about a Bitcoin position, we again, as a trader, and you guys know how I feel about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is just one coin in this entire market that we have to trade. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, while we were taking a loss on Bitcoin, we also entered into Litecoin at the correct time, pretty much at the bottom of its latest price appreciation. We entered into Cardano directly before its pump yesterday. I I could go on and on and on and on and on about all the other coins that we have done. You guys can, of course, go over to current results.crackingcryptocurrency.com to see exactly how we're doing when we close out our trades. We ended up, week one was a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of a drawdown. I ended up losing about 1.5% of my account balance week one of June. Week 2 of June, I'm currently up 6.3% as of this morning on my total account balance. So things are doing pretty well. It's a slower month for me. And again, that number could be much larger, could be smaller. I have a lot of open positions. So again, as the weeks progress and as we move further and further through the month, I get more consistent, reliable data. For example, through the month of May, I was up, by my calculations, about 25% on my total equity. About the third week of the month. But by the time I closed the month of May out and had all my results ready and available for me, I saw that I was actually up 46.6% of my total equity just for the month of May. So the way that I trade does work. I'm very comfortable with the way that I trade. Any individual that is returning more than 5 to 10% of their equity per month is in the top tier of professional traders. The market standard to beat is 11%. And just because a coin or a preponderance of coins can do 10x movements does not necessarily make you a good trader if you happen to catch those movements. And this is something that I talk about a lot. Buying a bag of altcoins as an investment is different from being a trader. So if you happen to buy altcoins in 2016 and say you happen to sell them at the end of 2017 or the beginning of 2018, and you made a very handsome return on your investment, you are not a good trader. A trader trades frequently and consistently in highly liquid markets generally, okay? The reason, and there's a great Medium article about this, again, the reason that most people who make good gains on investments and then want to consider themselves traders and then get chopped up when they go into trying to trade is because it takes a completely different mindset. Now, as I've said many times, there is nothing wrong with having an investment basket of cryptocurrencies. I think that it's not a bad idea to include cryptocurrencies in your overall diversified portfolio of investments. I think that that portfolio should also include stocks. I think that it also should include bonds, maybe not government bonds, maybe foreign. There's lots, when you get into bonds, it's a very complicated thing, right? So there's lots of ways that you can do things. We're not just talking about your traditional regular bonds that individuals are going to tell you. If you go to any certified financial planner or certified financial analyst, who typically are jokes anyways, they give you the same information wherever you go. I think that your portfolio should include foreign currencies. I think that it should include precious metals. I think that it should include investments in real estate. All of those things and more. And if you start expanding and learning about investment in general and start putting away 10 to 20% of your monthly income in investments, especially if you're starting now in your 20s or your 30s, or even if you're older, that is going to pay dividends, literally, in the future and allow you to live comfortably off of your investments. For example, that is something that I did when I was in my very young 20s. I began investing in real estate, for example. All right. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but I did what I could while I was building myself up. And I've just continued that practice throughout my years. And now that I'm 31, I have, maybe to somebody, it might be not overly impressive, but it's fairly impressive to me based on where I am and where I've come from as a self-taught individual in everything that I do. And it allows me to be fairly comfortable in how I live. But again, it took patience, it took discipline, it took forward thinking, and it took continuing to follow through on my plan and executing, even when my family, when friends, when peers said I was insane, right? For example, I started buying Russian rubles a few years ago, and people told me that I'm crazy, that I was just getting the sport currency. I'm not crazy. There is a purpose for it, right? Anyways, moving right along, guys. So let's look at the Bitcoin chart. So on the daily, we are getting a long signal from Minx. If we take a look at Waddah Attar explosion, it is not confirming a long signal whatsoever on the daily chart. Now, I know for a fact that there are some people, even in the group, who have sped up Waddah Attar, and that is okay. I have not sped up Waddah Attar. So let's talk about what that means. Let's open up the settings for Waddah Attar explosion, and let's first understand that Waddah Attar is based upon the MACD, the Moving Average Convergence Divergence Indicator, okay? Now, it is a modified form of the MACD, and the settings, as we can see here, for your fast length and your slow length are 20 and 40. So Morbid, thank you so much for the follow over there on Twitch, my good friend. And for some reason, I need to pull open. Oh, I also wanted to thank Crypto Cuck. Hopefully that's not hurting you too bad. And Collins in Data. I'm sure I mispronounced that. It's probably just Data, or maybe like there's a cooler sounding way at the beginning of the name. But thank you so much for the subscriptions on YouTube. But thank you, Morbid. Thank you for following us over there on Twitch, my good friend. Okay, so what we can do with Waddah Attar, and I'm going to sneeze here in just a second, so pardon me. I feel it coming. Texas Blues, taking a look at NEOUSDT. I would love to for you, man. Okay, so what we can do is we could speed this up. What are the regular default settings for the MACD? Well, what is the fast length for the MACD? 12. And what is the slow length? It's 26. Okay. Now, look what that did. Look what that did to our Waddah Attar explosion. It switched it from bearish to bullish. This is going to make Waddah Attar more sensitive. What this means is that we're going to get more frequent signals, and we're going to get earlier confirmation of signals. Now, this might be something that you want to do on the daily. I'm going to leave my thoughts on this vague because I want you guys, as we continually do on this channel, to test this stuff for yourself. If you come to me and want me to just hand you the exact way that it works, you're not going to have as good as results as, for example, the members in the group who go through Pathways to Profit, for example, and end up developing their own system based on the default template that we get them, because it's not just the indicators, it is the structure, it is the method, it is the system of how all these components work together. So if we do that, we will get more frequent signals. Now, we can even get more sexy with it and make those numbers smaller. We can make them larger, okay? But typically, remember that the larger, the higher that you go up, in your time frame, the more sensitive you typically want to try and set your indicators. Again, it's a fine balance between setting them sensitive enough to get you into good trades and stay out of bad, or excuse me, sensitive enough when we're talking about indicators or confirmers to get you into good trades, but patient enough to keep you out of bad trades at the wrong time. So another thing that we can also do is we can adjust sensitivity as well. For example, we can set it to 100. That is going to adjust the explosion level. So the only thing that's going to change the columns is going to be our fast length and slow length. What's going to adjust our explosion level is going to be adjusting sensitivity and even our channel length. Okay. Now, I don't recommend. That's also going to adjust how quickly our explosion level is moving up or moving down. So the shift between yellow and black. So definitely things that you want to take into account. You can also adjust your multiplier. I don't really recommend doing that. I think the multiplier is fine where it's at. You can actually set it a little bit more conservative or a little bit less conservative. Again, all this is going to become very clear with back testing. So even if though we do that, which is what some guys in the group were sending to me earlier today and last night, we still don't have a signal from Waddah Attar to go long, okay? Now, let's even be a little bit more traditional, and let's actually pull up the MACD, which, as I've said before, is not a bad indicator. It's just not very good. If you don't have an indicator that you're using right now, the MACD is actually pretty darn good. It's better than a lot of stuff out there. I'd say it's in the top, it's in the top 500 of indicators out there at least, right? As opposed to just about every indicator that I've ever messed with. So let me rephrase that. Not just about every indicator. Almost all common indicators fall into that realm of completely subpar, absolutely unusable. But there are thousands upon thousands of indicators out there that are modified versions, that are different. LINKBTC BTC taking a dive. Or taking a boom up. We'll get to that, man. We'll get to that. If it is blowing up just like that, then it's probably something that I'm not going to be able to grab. So we will check it out, brother. Thank you, man. So even with the modified versions of Waddah Attar, we're not getting the signal to go long. And if we look at the MACD itself, there is no signal there. Now, the MACD would have gotten us out of a short trade on this candle right here. On this candle right here. If we look at what RVGI did as well, let's take a gander. We're looking for the green line to cross up over the red line, and that actually would have occurred on this candle initially, and then it occurred on this candle. All right, secondarily is when we actually got the confirmed second crossover from RVGI. Okay? So let's take a look at what price has done. Price has wicked back down to the baseline, has popped back up. We are holding so far strongly above the baseline, and we'll see where price evolves from this. I'm not taking a long position off of this based on what I see. I need more information. I need to see that this will be a sustained movement, and I'm totally open to it potentially being a sustained movement to the upside, but there is no indication that that is what's going to happen right now. And as we can see, as a result, Bitcoin moving a little bullish and not really taking a strong move. Bear in mind, and I talked about this exactly yesterday with Waddah, Attar explosion, and really volume as well, our volume oscillator too. This is not a very strong signal, okay? Just because price closed above the baseline is not an indication to go long. We can look at, if we pull up something like Ichimoku as well. Interestingly enough, Ichimoku price came right up to the Tenkan-sen and currently is rejecting from the Tenkan-sen. Now, the Tenkan-sen is not what I use for a baseline. Pretty good baseline, but it's not what I use for a baseline. But just something interesting to point out and note there, okay? And again, you guys can check out my Ichimoku script at indicators.krakencryptocurrency.com if you so desire. So nothing to do right now on Bitcoin. We are above the baseline. Minx is giving us a signal. Waddah Attar is negative, so we do have 2 of 3, okay? Above the baseline, Minx, not Waddah Attar. So let's get rid of the MACD, and let's get rid of RVGI for right now, because we only look at that in specific situations when we're wanting to get out of a position. And let's start going down through the lower time frames and seeing if we're getting any signals to do anything. All right, so Minx gave you, and you know what? Let's take a look at these modified settings. Let's keep the 12 and 26 on here. All right, let's have fun with it, okay? So here's the 12 and 26. And let's just be upfront about using Waddah as an entry indicator as opposed to a confirming indicator, okay? Because here is the 12 and 26 settings, and we get a long signal here, and we get a short signal here, and we get a long signal here, and we get a short signal here. That was probably a winning trade. That's a good one. A short signal here right before a big pump, and a long signal here right at the top. So you're basically buying at the top and selling at the bottom. So not what we want. And that's why I have those more conservative settings on there. But if we want to make our confirmation indicator a little bit more, if we want to make them a little bit more sensitive and get into more trades, then of course what we can do is speed it up. Interesting. Chainlink announcing that we are thrilled to share that Google is one of the great companies integrating Chainlink into their approach to smart contract adoption. Here's how GCP cloud users can use Chainlink to connect to BigQuery, one of Google's most popular cloud services. Holy shit, now that's a partnership. Interesting. You just win. Nice, dude. You know, I'm gonna tell you guys something that you may not know, and you might know, depending on kind of where you sit in the crypto space. Chainlink is 4chan's baby. Okay, Chainlink is absolutely 4chan's baby. And again, I've got nothing but love for the 4chan.org community over there. You guys are fantastic. I've spent my youth spent many nights on B. However, moving forward, let's just say that they have to be going absolutely insane over there right now. So let's look at Ricky Thompson says, because it doesn't have strong follow through with volume, which can be considered bearish, correct? Yes, it can. But Bitcoin does have strange spikes in volume, which drive price higher out of nowhere, of course. And there's no way we can trade those things. So we trade what is able to be confirmed statistically, and we accept into our system that shit's just going to happen sometimes, bro. Chainlink not being available at Bittrex is perfect prevention from FOMO. Yeah, so let's talk about a couple things. First off, similar to just about trading everything else, if you don't have the news first and you're getting the news just when everybody else gets the news, you are doing so much damage to your risk management for trying to hop into something like Link. Now, again, if you want to take 1% of your portfolio, toss it in there, maybe have some fun, maybe that's one thing. But taking on a full risk trade where 2 to 3% of your portfolio is at risk if you lose it, not cool. It's never anything that I do. The reason why is because, again, we got to go back to the very same thing. And this is something that is just, I will just continue to preach. I will continue to preach, okay? These large pumps in cryptocurrency, you don't need to catch them to make a living trading this asset class. You don't. If you want to be a professional trader, your thoughts need to be far more conservative, okay? The industry standard is 11% per year, okay? If you are able to return more than 11%, there are individuals in this world, tens of thousands of them, who will pay you very handsomely to trade their money, which you can do in Forex and cryptocurrency with no license. You require no license to trade other individuals' money. The route to becoming a professional trader for most of you is going to be this route, and that is exactly what I want to teach everybody to do. That is the point of PTP, and really, that's the point of the show. You don't need to get rich off your $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000. You don't need to do that by taking super high-risk trades on insanely volatile assets in highly charged fundamental news-driven events, okay? That is, in any industry, something you never do. You never trade into news, right? For example, in Forex, it is a well-known fact that if there is a non-farm payroll coming out tomorrow, you don't fucking trade. You don't enter into a trade because you know price has the ability to move 100 pips in one direction or the other direction, and you don't care because there's a 50-50 chance of you getting it right, and you're not willing to take the downside risk if you get it wrong. So, for example, with Link right now, could that baby shoot up another 100%? Sure, it could. But it could also drop down 40% when whales who have been accumulating Link at the bottom take advantage of this news event to dump on anybody. You don't know. Nobody has any clue. Nobody's going to come in here and say that Link is a great buy, and nobody's going to be able to come in here and say, of course, Link's going to dump because of this. It could go either way. So why would you take that risk? There are hundreds of other coins out there, for example. There are hundreds of other coins that you can enter into a regular trade on. Just my thoughts. ZK Snarks, drink, man. If you live for the pumps, you won't live long. I feel you, man. As always, BTC is king. Okay, so 8-hour time frame. I'm not seeing a signal to do anything. Of course, Waddah is giving you a 12-hour long right now. Also gave you a 12-hour long right over here. Actually, a pretty nice long, honestly, here on the 12-hour time frame right here at 1900 last night. So that was the daily candle close on the 12-hour. You got a long signal to go long. 8-hour chart, you got a long signal here. If you were using Waddah, you got your primary here from Minx. That one was actually a loss. But you did get a continuation long from Minx here, which you could have taken. 6-hour got you in pretty good right here on a long and a continuation long. And got you in a long here that was a small losing trade. That's actually not too bad. Not compared to the win that you have right now. And, of course, going down to the 4-hour. 4-hour gave you a bad trade here. Make sure this is starting bars because that's distracting. 4-hour gave you a good 4-hour trade here. I'm sure you hit your take profit one on that wick. And maybe hit take profit one here. No, that was a losing trade. This was a good one, though. Yeah, you've hit 1 and 2. Waiting for 3. So not bad. 4-hour has been pretty good to you lately, which it's not always. Okay, having said that, let's take a look over at Ethereum. And of course, Ethereum having a nice bigger pop up here on the daily. Popping up to our secondary baseline, the 55 exponential moving average, and rejecting from its proximity. Sorry, that is the qualifying line, not the 55. Let's take a look where the 55 is. Yeah, below. Now, I want to look at something actually. Let's go back over to XBT-USD. I want to look at XBT-USD and talk about something. Well, you know what? Let's save that for the weekly analysis because where the 55 is on the daily in conjunction with the weekly is still fairly interesting. So let's just stay with Ethereum for right now, guys. And Ethereum doing something very similar to Bitcoin right now, closing above the daily baseline and currently pulling back. Now, didn't pull back down as far or as volatilely to the baseline as Bitcoin did, but Ethereum also shot up much more on higher momentum than Bitcoin did as well. So let's keep these modified settings for Waddah Attar just for today. Let's just have some fun with it. Keep it sexy. And what's interesting is that with these modified settings, Ethereum would have actually given you a long signal yesterday. So we've got our volume oscillator up. Is this giving us a signal? No, it's not. What could we do? Could we speed this baby up? Because we're using the daily time frame? We could. We could. So yesterday we would have gotten a signal on our volume oscillator on Waddah Attar and volume, for example, in this situation. Okay, so we just sped the volume oscillator up to 3 and 5 respectively. Okay, we just made it faster. It's going to give us more signals. Okay, now that needs to be back tested. I don't use the volume oscillator. Yes, I did, Matt. Yes, this is a brand new monitor. Yep, it is smoother and sleeker, my good friend. Pin Cider says, am I still in my short? No, I am not, sir. Dutch Crypto says, still working on prevention for the missing out feeling. Action improved, however, but suppressing the feeling remains work. I feel you, man. I feel you. So let's take a gander here. Volume was nice on that movement to the upside. Price has pulled back and is currently consolidating, holding quite nice there. Again, if we take the speeded up settings, the quicker settings, we do get that long signal on Ethereum USD. Now, I didn't take an Ethereum USD trade. We'll see what today's daily candle looks like because this would be gamer at heart, Matt. I feel you, brother. Be that Bitcoin millionaire. All right. Bitcoin billionaire. I mean, Matt, I was watching that music video last night. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. I watched that last night, and I was thinking of lots of rigs, lots and lots of rigs. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Ethereum, I'm gonna wait because today might be an attractive pullback day. This might be one of those opportunities where I allow myself to take a pullback. Not 100% sure on that. There's going to be a couple other indicators that I utilize to see if I'm allowed to do that or if I want to do that as well. I also need to assess the risk that I have allocated in other positions when I finish closing everything out first. So I manage active open trades first. Then based upon that and what that means for my available capital to allocate for risk, that influences what level of discretion I allow myself to apply toward new trades. So not a whole lot to talk about with Ethereum here. Of course, if we go down to the lower time frames, I'm sure we're going to get quicker signals, for example, here on the 12 and on the 8 hour as well. Over here, that was actually a losing trade, but Minx got us back into a continuation long right here, which was okay. 6 hour time frame, continuation trade here. Got a 4 hour chart. 4 hour was the best. 4 hour long signal right here. Didn't cross back bound to below the baseline, and price did quite well. So let's get out of that. I didn't see any signal to do anything right now. Not on the 4, nor on the 6, or the 8, or the 12. Actually, they're all telling you to take your profit off of the position that you took here, for example. So, not too bad. Let's see how this plays out over the rest of the day. All right. Jose Canetta says, WTF is the news on Link. It's this right here. No, that's the over right here. They are partnering with Google, apparently. We're thrilled to share that Google is one of the great companies integrating Chainlink into their approach to smart contract adoption using BigQuery. You guys got a great icon. Yeah, so this is most likely a 4chaner. Shout out to you, sir. They frickin' love. They love them some Link. Okay. So, having talked about Bitcoin and Ethereum, let's head over to our long-term charts. Also take a gander at traditional markets and Forex. So we'll keep the modified settings on Waddah Attar for today. We'll get rid of RVGI. And let's use the 3 and 5 settings for the volume oscillator. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, let's go to, first off, I want to. So here's the thing, guys. And this is what happens when you trade mechanically. So I'm going to show you something here in a second. Okay. Matt, hey, are you there, man? Are you in the chat? Still watching? Or anybody who's in the group, who's in the chat, could help me out with this. Yeah, Breadcoin, I feel you, man. All right, hold on a second. All right, cool. I see y'all. Matt, Texas Blues, Cryptopic. Would you guys go to the, and again, this isn't, don't get this wrong, guys. This isn't bragging. I just want to show you guys about the PTP system and how it works when you trade mechanically and robotically. Would one of you guys be so kind enough as to go into the Premium Signals channel and just confirm if the post that I made last night confirmed LINKUSDT as an open position? Because I like to have other people verify that I'm not. You guys get the point. Saeed Sobani, when does my live stream begin? Every single day at 12 Central Daylight Time in America. So GMT -5, UTC -7. UTC -5, I'm sorry. So while I'm waiting for that, guys, you guys are cool. Take your time. Entered into a long position on LINKUSDT on this candle close right here. So look at Stephen Hyatt says open. Yep. Okay, so my buy price was $1.1248. 1.1248. So right about. Thank you, Texas Blue. Appreciate you, brother. Right about here, right about the close of this candle, because this is where I trade, and held the trade open yesterday. And good things happen when you're on the right side of the market. And I want to make this very clear. I had no idea that this was going to happen when I made the call. I had no idea, for example, that when we took the Red Pulse Phoenix trade for the guys who have been in the group for a while, I had no idea that we were going to get locked out of trading PHX, and then it was going to become, what is it, PHB or RPH or whatever it is now. And then that was going to pump up, 400%? I had no idea that was going to happen. I just know that when I take the trades that my system gives me, good things happen, right? I'm going to have some losses. I might even have frequent losses, for example, like we had at the first week of June. It's totally natural, totally normal. The way that we position size allows us to get through those periods with barely a scratch on us. And then what just naturally happens, especially in cryptocurrency, is that we get on the right side of the market, we trade in the direction of the dominant trend, and we check the market every single night for new signals, and we cycle our new capital in, and good things happen. Good things happen. Okay, so LINKUSDT, good trade. Let's see how far this ran up. My trailing take profit actually triggered. We gotta go down because I think it must have had a, yeah. So I think my trailing take profit triggered here. Button. Here we go. 1.87. That was pretty handy. Thank you. 1.87. My trailing take profit hit because I used 3 commas and I set a trailing take profit generally at ATR percentage. Sometimes I just do anywhere from 1 to 5%. Depends on how many trades I'm putting on, to be quite honest with you, because you can always edit that later on. And I'm usually going for efficiency to get in the market as quickly as possible in that window of opportunity. So, good trade, guys. Good trade. And yeah, this pump occurring in about an hour. And not something that you want to enter into right now. I mean, this could run up another 100 or 200, right? But you just continue to do the same consistent thing over and over and over again. And you just get on the right side of the market, because this is probably not your trade now. If you miss this trade, this is not your trade. This is not meant for you. You don't deserve this. You deserve the next coin that's going to do this. And if you are disciplined and consistent in what you do every single day, just move on. Nope, Elijah, the correct answer is I don't even. So what you need to do is just move to a different chart. This isn't your trade. You don't deserve to trade this. You don't deserve to profit off this. You definitely don't deserve to take a loss off of this. You just move right along, because there's going to be 100 other coins that are going to do this exact same thing eventually. And if you just consistently watch the market, you will get the trade that you deserve. Not every movement in the market was made for you. You don't deserve every move in the market. You deserve to get the right moves. Okay? You just be patient. Be patient. Just move on with your strategy and system. Prodigy, do I use 1 ATR as a stop loss? No. Because if you use 1 ATR as a stop loss, then you are setting your stop loss in the range of average volatility. You need to set your stop loss outside of 1 ATR. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to go to long-term concepts, and also I wanted to look at traditional markets. So let's look at Bitcoin dominance first. Bitcoin dominance first on the daily is having a nice day, as we can see here from the 15-minute chart. So let's go to the daily and see how this thing is progressing. Bitcoin dominance having a nice wick down. I'm actually interested to see what that wick down to. Okay, yep. So wicking down, we're pretty close to we're actually bouncing. This is going to be a triple test of our secondary baseline, our 55 exponential moving average. Jay Kreutzer says, did not take the link call. Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you, brother. I was laughing at what Expert said. That was pretty funny. Jay Kreutzer said, didn't take the link call, had too many positions open. Oh well, market will always provide more opportunities. Anti-FOMO mentality, you must stay strong. I feel you, man. Yes, absolutely. You've got the correct mindset, man. And that mindset is going to pay way more dividends for you over the course of your trading lifetime than any one individual trade, regardless of how lucrative it may or may not be. Because there is not a single trade in the world that will just go up and 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 not come back down eventually. It's just not how it happens. It's never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. There's never been something that just like goes up and just always just keeps going up, right? So there's never going to be a situation where if you miss a buy, it's the end of the world. Nah, you just missed that trade. There's going to be 100 other ones, probably today. So anyways, Bitcoin dominance is not looking very healthy, right? So this is another reason why I'm a little leery about the BTC USD long and the Ethereum USD long as well. The reason why is because when you have two highest liquidity assets in the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they trade basically in lockstep. Ethereum just moves a little bit more wildly, if you will. When you see Bitcoin dominance acting as a good leading indicator for fundamental positions overall, it's man, you want to also consider the fact that you can utilize it as a leading fundamental indicator for Ethereum as well. So Bitcoin dominance being quite low. Now, again, I get that. We could look at Ethereum dominance, but trust me, there's a method to this madness. Looking at Bitcoin dominance, what this is continuing to tell me is that individuals are not moving in mass. Look at what Bitcoin dominance did over here, for example, right? So in between, beginning at April 2019, when Bitcoin just had a massive run up, all right? Bitcoin had a massive run up throughout the same period in time. Bitcoin dominance just surged, okay? And then back in May 2019, Bitcoin dominance, dropped off significantly, meaning a lot of individuals sold in May 2019. And if we look overall at the buying of Bitcoin, it's just not been able to do it, right? Way more many people are entering into altcoin markets or moving out of Bitcoin into Tether than are actually entering and buying Bitcoin. It's just what we're seeing, and the chart is confirming this. So the idea that we are just magically bullish when Bitcoin dominance is below our baseline, for example, and we are threatening a bearish moving average crossover, because take no mistake for this, ladies and gentlemen, if the 13 daily exponential moving average if the 13 daily exponential moving average crosses under the 55 exponential moving average, I firmly believe that we will most likely have a significant pullback in Bitcoin's price. The same pullback that I've been talking about for a while to truly confirm that the bull market is in. This is the first strongest bullish rally after consolidation, after a massive move to the downside when we tested the lows of 3K. And what we saw last time at the end of the last bear market is that we had the weekly 13 and 55 exponential moving average cross over to the upside. Price appreciated for a few weeks, consolidated, had a big pullback down, a big 30% down movement. And then, for the most part, the weekly 13 held, and it was nothing but bullishness from there on. I fully expect that to happen. That's why I do think that the next big trade is most likely going to be to the downside. That doesn't hinder me from taking a long trade if the opportunity presents itself. But I also look at Bitcoin dominance, and I think that this is also a great leading indicator for what the market is likely to do. And looking at Bitcoin dominance and seeing how fucking weak it is, oh bueno. Looking at Tether dominance as well. Let's go over and look at Tether dominance. Steve Fruce, thank you so much for the subscription over there or for the follow over there on Twitch, my good friend. And I feel like I've missed. No, I haven't really missed. All bueno. Thank you, Crypto Caveman. He says, hey man, you give me hope. Trading can be a profession. I don't believe in lucky investments being a sustainable way of making money, because they absolutely are not. You're right. Discipline and consistency is what generates profits. This is how all professional traders trade. So good mindset, man. Now let's go look over at USDT dominance. We just looked at an example of how Bitcoin dominance is threatening a moving average crossover to the downside, a very bearish setup. What is USDT dominance looking at doing? It is flirting with a moving average crossover to the upside, and this has historically been a fantastic leading indicator for overall bearishness in the market. When Tether dominance is quite high, you are overall quite bearish. And if we get that moving average crossover here on the daily, more so, right? So typically if that happens, I would expect that we're going to have a fairly slow time for altcoins. There's not going to be as many signals, which our system is naturally going to reproduce, because if altcoins are bearish, then we're just not going to be getting long signals on them. That's the way our system is designed. We're not reversal traders. We're trend traders. So the trend right now has been kind of flirting, bullish, bearish. Things are overall consolidating. Some things are pumping. And you want to be cautious, because we're seeing some pretty big pumps when our fundamental leading indicators are starting to shift bearish. Now, what does that typically mean? Let's talk about a little bit of manipulation. It's not really manipulation, but what would you do if you knew or had a good idea and you were a whale or you were a large holder of a coin? And this is true in equity, and this is true in foreign currencies. It happens all the time, right? Big players move the markets and everybody else gets caught up in between. And you have to understand that and trade in that fashion. So when we're talking about what typically happens before a big market reversal, you typically get some large, crazy pumps out of nowhere for whales to offload their bags on guppies. And then again, they're going to FOMO by the top. And 3 months later, people are jumping out of windows because their coin's down 90%. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. What I am saying is that you need to be cautious, okay? Because if these leading indicators flip bearish, then most likely Bitcoin will have a significant pullback. If Tether dominance continues down this road, then most likely altcoins will have significant pullback. And you're going to hear everybody lose their goddamn mind in the market. Every YouTuber that just flipped bullish, for example, right? Some people with crypto in their first name, okay? I won't mention any specifics, are going to lose their damn mind and call for 1,000. Tone Vays and Tyler Yanks are going to feel so justified. People are going to say it's the end of the goddamn world. People are just going to go absolutely nuts. Meanwhile, us as trend traders are like, yeah, cool, whatever. We're just taking shorts now. It's nonsense how people just blow up everything and find reasons to just freak out all the time, man. So just be calm, just be patient. There's a good potential for a significant pullback. We'll get back in on the short when it makes sense. We'll take a long if it makes sense. If we're going to have a little bit more bullish activity, maybe another little baby rally before we move down. Or maybe I'm completely wrong about that, which I'm totally comfortable with. And everything will just signal that, hey, we're going to go long and we just run up to 10K. Totally cool with that. Love to see that, actually. Really good for my investments. So anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to look at traditional markets and Forex, guys. So before we go to the break, if you are tired of getting wicked out of your position, if you're tired of your orders not getting filled, if you're tired of all the unsavory shenanigans over on BitMEX, but you enjoy the profit opportunity of leverage trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, and ZERP, as we colloquially call Ripple over here, well, then you can check out the exchange that I trade on, which is ByBit. ByBit's my favorite exchange currently. I love their customer service. I've dealt with them before. I've had people come to me with issues with ByBit, and I've directed them to their customer service. Can you pick up the phone and call BitMEX customer service? Oh, you can't? Oh, you can do that with ByBit. By the way, did you know? Oh, just letting you guys know. Anyways, that's where I trade. That is the exchange that I really, really like. They have a well-detailed roadmap. They have a very professional staff. They're based in Singapore, which for those of you who know about foreign markets is a very regulatory state. So again, it's not a fly-by-night exchange. Anyways, guys, you can head over to bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com if you'd like to trade where I trade. Again, that's bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. And Mr. Ether says, what if we're just tired? Well, then have a nap. Then fire the missiles. If anybody gets that joke, I'm going to tip you $5. Let me know. Anyways, guys, I'll be right back. Links down in the description down below, of course, and bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. I'll be back in just a few moments, guys. Don't go anywhere. Make sure to hit the like button and give us a follow wherever you happen to be watching while you're waiting. right, and we're back, guys. Thank you so much for sticking in there with me. Elijah Finch, you are correct, sir. Elijah Finch, you are correct, sir. Hit me up in the Discord, man. I got you. But I'm tired. Well, then have a nap. And then fire the missiles. I love that. Shout out from my childhood. Okay, so here's the Earth surrounding. That's a sweet Earth, man. Oh, man. Yeah, there is no KYC at ByBit. Okay, anyways, let's get back into it, guys. If you have requests, let me know in the chat, and I will put them in the request list, and we'll get to that after traditional markets and Forex. We'll look at traditional markets and Forex, we'll look at some news, and we'll do chart requests. So with that being said, tunes. Just turned on my FOMO trader for Link. Am I badgerish? No, not really at the moment, man. Fundamentally, I'm actually in lean and bearish. Okay, so let's go over to traditional markets and Forex. We'll start with traditional markets. Let's look at the CFD for the S&P 500. S&P 500, actually, now we want to throw on our VGI. And we're going to speed this baby up to 8. And we're going to make our green line a little brighter. Okay, so we got the entry signal. Let's actually, sorry, so let's take off our secondary baseline. We don't need it right now. All right, so we were bullish on the S&P 500 on the close of this candle. This was a long signal. Actually began being bullish here. Of course, Waddah Attar gave you your first entry signal on this candle right here. Would have got you in, what do I want to say? About 1/3% faster than MTLBTC did. So MTLBTC gave us a nice long signal right here within our qualifying line. And that was a good trade. As I said yesterday, ran up about 2.63%. You did not get any indication from relative vigor to exit your position, although Minx, being a very sensitive early exit system, did get you out on this candle right here. Relative vigor would have kept you in the trade, and you are still in your S&P 500 long. So let's go over to SP, where we could have actually taken this on the E-minis. Let's see here. So Quadrigo ATR, again, would have gotten us into the trade right here, all right, on our S&P, on our E-mini futures. Price ran up a maximum of 2.31. Relative vigor still has you in this trade. You're still holding your E-mini position on the S&P 500. All right, going over to the NQ. Same thing. We would have taken a long position right here. Relative vigor still has us in. Haven't made a whole lot of profit yet. Did we end up hitting take profit? One we did on this wick. So you're 50% out of your NQ long. And just wait. You're still in your position. You're still absolutely chilling. All right, let's go over to the Dow. E-mini, same thing. Nice long trade. Again, you would have been spread, depending on distance to stop, of course, but you would have had fairly equal position sizes on the NQ, the YM, and the SP, trading E-minis. So, again, for those of you who are not familiar with trading traditional markets, E-minis is most likely where you want to go to trade, okay? That is the cheapest. It's the best liquidity. It's kind of your best option there. Looking over at the Russell, same thing. Russell gave us a long signal on this candle right here and would be following that up quite nicely right now. Relative vigor still has you in this trade. Have we hit take profit one on our Russell trade? No, we haven't, but I feel that we are soon. Looking at West Texas crude, WTI. West Texas crude continues to be a whole lot of nothing, honestly. We did get a continuation short on yesterday's candle. In a little bit of drawdown right now, still below the baseline. The trade still looks good, so nothing to do except hold that open. Again, this is the CFD on a Waddah, so this is a trade I most likely would have taken. Looking over at the VIX, we're at on the VIX, 15.68, all right? Not a bad area to trade in. Looking at Bentley crude, the CFD over on a Waddah, what do we got? Same thing as West Texas crude, okay? Nothing to do right now. Yesterday was a continuation short, very similar to West Texas. In a little bit of drawdown right now, nothing to do. I'm a scalper. That's pamping for me. Hell yeah, I feel you, man. Good trade. Okay, let's go look at our Forex markets. If you guys have any Forex requests, let me know. We'll start with the euro dollar, of course, the most widely traded Forex pair, generally sometimes the most boring Forex pair to trade. I digress. Anyways, we had a euro dollar trade last week. Looking at the CFD. No, not this. Oink! Looking at the currency pair. Anyways, so we got a long signal here. We're above our qualifying line, so we have to wait for a pullback. Happens 2 days later. We can take this trade at a third risk. Okay? And here we go. We hit take profit 1. We hit take profit 2 on our euro dollar trade. And relative vigor is now telling you to go ahead and be out of your euro dollar long position. All right, so nothing to do right now. I mean, you do have a potential reversal off of the baseline, which you could take, but not the trade that I'd be taking right now based on the rest of the FX markets. Well, let's look and see, because we only want to take reversal trades when there's nothing else to do. We always want to take primary signals first, then continuation signals, and then, and only then, if we have leftover capital to allocate to trades, do we want to be looking at reversal trades. Dollar yen, absolutely, this is a nothing trade. We would have gotten into a continuation short here, would have gotten out here, which just in a slight drawdown on that one, which is good because overall nothing has really happened. We've been listing lazily up. If you would have taken the reversal short off of the baseline, you'd be doing well right now. And again, the primary short on the dollar yen that we would have taken right here is performing quite nicely because we would have caught this big candle. Again, we're typically looking for 80 to 120 pip movements on our Forex pairs, the way that we trade. All right, looking at the pound dollar, continues to be a know-nothing. And again, as I said yesterday, the pound dollar is one of those things right now, for whatever reason, if you go to like Forex Reddit, if you go to Forex Twitter, everybody is just for some reason absolutely insane about taking a long on this. Last week, this week, today. And there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do. Look at this absolute chop and bloodbath of consolidation. Stay out of this until we get a strong signal. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. Confirmed a short yesterday. You'd be in a short trade on the Aussie dollar, as we talked about yesterday. And doing pretty well for you so far right now. Keep it up. Dollar Canadian. Let's see here. Ever since the short signal right here, which was a banger trade, that was a 100 pip trade all day. There's nothing to do right here. In fact, this is telling you on the close of this candle to go ahead and get yourself on out of your dollar CAD short. Looking at the Kiwi Swissy, nothing to do. Short signal right here. And not a greatly profitable trade. This looks maybe like a 20 pip trade, maybe. 12 pip trade, okay. Opportunity for 20 pips there. And relative vigor is going to be crossing up maybe today at the close. It's going to happen very soon. Only got a few hours left. So watch that Kiwi Swissy short if you are in that. Dollar Swissy. Continuation short signal right here, which was a good banger trade. And relative vigor actually is going to get you on. Did it get you out yesterday? Got you out yesterday. So you're out of the dollar Swissy. Euro yen, nothing to do right now. Could be a short. Long trade was taken right here. That was actually most likely a losing position. So our euro yen trade is would be a loss, looking if the candle closes like this. Euro pound, again, one of the best trades we would have taken all year. Just massive, amazing run up on that. And again, no real reason. Actually, excuse me, relative vigor had you out here. And then you got a continuation trade here. And you are now getting back out. All right. You're getting out of your euro pound long trade today at the close. Kiwi dollar is flashing up a short signal on Minx, but no confirmation from Waddah, even with quick settings. So nothing to do. Well, let's watch the Kiwi dollar tomorrow for a potential short. The Canadian dollar. Here, got a long signal here. Take profit 1 and 2, and relative vigor is telling you to go ahead and get on up out of your position today. So if you're in a CAD long, get on out of that, baby. Dollar Aussie. Dollar Aussie was a long signal yesterday. So you are still in this dollar Aussie long. Dollar euro, nothing to do here, man. This is a nightmare. Dollar yuan, let's see if we can actually get some volatility for the love of God. Not just overall bloodbath of consolidation, which is good. Look how we're above. Let's get rid of Quadrigo. So look real closely. Let's zoom in. Look how we're above our baseline right here. How we're above our baseline. But look what Waddah, which is our confirming indicator, is doing. It's throwing up nothing but blood, which is good. This is telling us do nothing. Take no trade in this area. It's exactly what we want. Pound CAD. Nothing. Continuation short over here that we would have just held on to. Probably take profit 1 or 2 on that so far. And relative vigor is telling you to go ahead and get on out. So go ahead and exit your pound CAD trade. ZAO gold, ZAO USD. Again, it's hard to justify how I would have been able to take the ZAO USD CFD on a Waddah. Adam Collector Records, what's going on, bro? Looking at the ZAO USD gold trade right here, I can't justify how I would have potentially got this trade. Again, here was a long right here that Waddah did confirm, which was a loss on the very next candle. And then as we can see on this signal right here, we're just too far above our qualifying line, so we're not able to take this right now. Waddah Attar does get us in, but even if we look at Waddah Attar, that is a falling explosion level on that column close. So, and that occurred right here, so that's not a signal either. So this is just a trade that most likely the way that we trade, we just missed. Now, we might be getting a continuation signal today or tomorrow. Let's wait and see how ZAO Gold does. Looking at Palladium, love it. Love it, love it. I have Palladium as part of my diversified portfolio, so as is ZAO. But Palladium, for some reason, I'm especially excited about. I just bought some physical Palladium about a month ago, and I'm pretty excited about it for some reason. I don't know why, but it just excites me. Every time I buy physical precious metals, you know, I gotta go look at them, you know, but they're pretty. So, anyways, Palladium gave a long signal right here. Beautiful long signal. This is just what you absolutely want a signal to look like. Take profit 1, 2, and we haven't hit take profit 3 yet, so we're just holding on to that Palladium trade. Silver. Again, silver is another one that's more difficult to justify how I would have gotten this one. But as we can see, 2 candles later, we do get a nice pullback in a close within our qualifying zone. So take profit 1 gets hit, take profit 2 does not get hit, and relative vigor is actually going to have you out of this trade here. But again, you would have been out here when we closed below the baseline. So no fresh signal on silver. Maybe here in a couple days we'll get a continuation long. Rhodium Commods, nothing to do. Overall bloodbath, and so we haven't really got any good signals. Again, we did get a long signal over here that Waddah did confirm, and that was a good trade. Hit take profit 1 and 2 on low volatility. Actually, a take profit 3 as well on that wick, so that was a great Rhodium Commods trade. Got a continuation long here that would have hit take profit 1, and you'd be out here. Or at break even, actually, excuse me. So that's a winning trade, too. Looking at GLD. Now, GLD on SIBO. Looking at GLD on SIBO, this was a fantastic trade that our system caught 100%. So here's the long signal right here, confirmed by Waddah Attar, and just look at this massive run-up. Look at this beautiful run-up. Relative Vigor would have got you out right here, which is great, because you sell basically at the top. And GLD on SIBO is throwing up a continuation long here. So GLD is throwing up a continuation long on the close of today's candle. Check that out. You've got a few hours to throw that on. CAD Yen. Nothing to do, man. CAD Yen gave a long here that is most likely a losing trade on the close of today's candle. You talk to your mother with that mouth, Do-Wan Tak. All right, moving right along. So we went over traditional markets and we went over Forex as well. If you guys have any requests, make sure to pop them in the chat. And we're going to get into the requests now. So first thing we want to look at is NEOUSDT. All right, so let's look at NEOUSDT. So again, we're using speeded up settings on Waddah Attar. Looking at speeded up settings on Waddah Attar. So as we can see, with the speeded up settings, we actually have confirmation yesterday. So let's look at this long signal on the daily on NEO. This isn't a trade I took yesterday. There were other positions that I took. I only put on 3 new positions yesterday for my daily scan, and NEO was not one of them. So long signal yesterday, confirmed by Waddah Attar with the speeded up settings, and volume oscillator with the speeded up settings gives us a signal as well. So we have pretty beautiful stuff right here, all lining up well on NEOUSDT. And we haven't hit take profit 1 yet, so NEOUSDT would just be open. So I think this looks really constructive. You're still within your buy zone as well. You're gonna have to make sure that you adjust your stop loss or take profit concurrently. Christy Brom, my mother isn't bald. Let's see here. If Bitcoin takes a huge dive, she might be. Kidding. No disrespect to anybody's mother. Love my mother with all my heart. Yeah, so this is pretty good. I think NEOUSDT is pretty good. Would I enter into it now? No, we're beyond my window of opportunity, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. We already looked at Link, so let's look at LINKBTC, for example, here and see what's up with Link. Now, interesting to note, so here's a long signal on LINKBTC right here, and so confirmed by Waddah Attar, confirmed by the volume oscillator, and if we are not using MTLBTC, which is a very sensitive early exit system, and we look at relative vigor, what does this do for us? Get you in here. This is a PTP system, okay? Gets you in right here and keeps you in throughout this consolidation. At no time do we close below the baseline, and you would have caught this entire movement. This is not a trade that I had on. I actually exited Link right here, I do believe. So at a little profit, slightly break even. And LINKUSDT, though, was a trade that we had open. So I'm happy we caught that. LINKBTC obviously running up a little bit, I think, more, honestly, not much more impressively than LINKUSDT. Same profit spread. And I'd rather take the USDT trade anytime that I can because it's just way more simple. You know, when you're trading a USDT pair, you don't need to even think about You don't even need to think about what Bitcoin is doing on the back end. Go to the watch list. Nothing to do here with LINKBTC, honestly, guys. Go down to the, I mean, we would have caught this on 12 hour, would have caught this. 12 hour would have exited you out of the position here at a small profit. Did you get a continuation long? Yeah, you did here, but then you got a short signal here. So, unfortunately, 12 hour was not the chart you wanted to take this trade on, guys. The daily, tried and true, typically gives you the best entries and exits. Darren Garish, metal and ADX. Sure, man. Let's look at metal and ADX, and then we'll go look at some news. All right, so metal. Metal was actually a trade that we just took profits on just a while ago. So metal, let me go check my trading journal, because I give you the. So we closed metal out on the 11th at 18.94% overall profit with our average sell. Entered on the 3rd. Yep, so entered on this candle right here. You can see on this candle right here for that long on metal, and we hit all our take profit targets. This was the 3rd one, and as you can see, I mean, we basically sold the top. All right, we weren't able to catch this. Actually, we caught it a little bit with our trailing take profit, but again, got kicked out somewhere around here. I think it would have been here. I think I had a 5%. Probably right about here. So last portion of the position got sold at pretty much near the top. But again, when you do things the right way, that's typically what's going to happen anyway. But yeah, metal was a good trade. Nothing to do right now, man. Now, let's be honest, RVGI still has you in this trade, so you wouldn't have exited yet. But you want to be cautious about RVGI's purpose of when to sell the last year position. So, for example, I like doing the trailing take profit. There are going to be situations where using just your exit indicator and not stops and targets are going to give you more profit potential, but you have to find that fine balance for exactly how you want to do things. Typically, if you're going to just use RVGI, you want to make it like really sensitive, right? So, but not so sensitive that it gets you out of all positions. So as you can see here, RVGI would have had you out here before the stop and target system would have even done anything for you. The 7 still has you in, and the 8 still has you in too. So it's just one of those things, man. It takes a lot of experimentation and playing around. This is not the exit indicator that I use, but if you don't have one, I think this is really, really, really good, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, so I don't see a position to take in metal Bitcoin today, man. If we look at what the indicators are doing, Minx is giving you an early exit. The volume oscillator is falling below the 0 line. Waddah Attar is starting to fall off. We still have a rising explosion level, but no signal to go long quite yet, man. We're pretty far away from the baseline. We are inside our buy zone. So maybe if we can pop down and get a wick off the baseline, I would have buy order set at the daily baseline right now if I wanted to take a reversal trade. But, you know, I'm not any more excited about trading metal than I am any other assets. So I'll just wait for a signal. I don't see anything to do today, man. ADXBTC. Let's see here. So ADXBTC was a long signal over here on the 7th of June that was a loser on the next candle. And then here we got a continuation long, and it really hasn't done anything yet. So, you know, if we look at our volume oscillator, it's not, again, we don't need our volume for a continuation because you just don't. Waddah Attar is looking pretty good. A little bit of falling momentum as we would see on the MACD. And we really haven't gotten an exit indication yet from RVGI either. So, you know, this is something that just statistically, we would have entered into a trade here and probably taken a loss, and then entered into a trade here and are currently in drawdown. So there's nothing too much to do with this one. Of course, you can enter into a trade now because you got a signal yesterday and it's pulling back a little bit. So that's okay as well. That's part of discretion. So ADX does look like it could be an entry today. So just be cautious, wait and see how the daily closes. And all right, guys, so let's talk about a little bit of news. All right, so the big news today for everybody is we're going to go over to Medium and go to Bakkt's Medium, okay? So Bakkt is going to be launching their futures platform for testing on July 22nd, okay? So 2 days after Apollo 11's 50th anniversary, Bakkt will initiate user acceptance testing for its Bitcoin futures listed and traded at Intercontinental Exchange Futures US and cleared at ICE Clear US, okay? So this is big news. I know that a lot of people out there are kind of whatever about the news on Bakkt, but this is absolutely massive, okay? Bakkt launching physically delivered futures is massive. I don't care who you think it is. This is absolutely huge. Now, there's no clear idea of exactly in the short term how price will respond. Could go up, could go down. It's not being traded on Bakkt. But what this does mean in the long term is that we are going to get much more liquidity with institutional investors on traditional exchanges. We're going to see more of a migration away from the current unregulated exchanges that are currently hosting lots of our trading and a movement toward more traditional setups, which, to be quite honest with you, for somebody who's interested in profit, is a much more safer solution. For example, if you are trading on an exchange that is securing, that is guaranteeing your deposit, for example, unlike any other crypto exchange out there, if the crypto exchange gets hacked, they're not required to pay you back your money. However, having your money as a trader, just being realistic with you guys, I would feel much more safe having my funds on an exchange where my deposit was guaranteed, right? Where my deposit was secured, where my deposit was underwritten, for example, than having it on Binance. And that is just one of the risks and precautions that we have to take. Anyways, moving right along. Short says, huge dump happening soon. How do I know? I just went all in on Bitcoin and Litecoin and Rave. So because you went all in on them, you know the market's gonna move against you. Sometimes that's a good leading indicator. So anyways, guys, they're going to be supporting ICE Futures US launch of daily and monthly margin futures contracts. So you can enter into contracts that are settled at the end of day. You can also enter contracts that are settled on end of month. And what I want to go over is this overall list of problems and risks in the current setup of go over the current risks and problems of the current setup for trading Bitcoin in their estimation and what they're going to do to solve the problem. So the first one is regulatory uncertainty that could be problematic for asset managers or their customers. And I can tell you that this is absolutely true. Was there a prison break somewhere? Thank the escapees. A little bit. I know that this is 100% true. I talk to a lot of individuals that are asset managers or professional traders in Forex or traditional markets, and some of them, they tolerate me, and some of them are impressed by me, and some of them laugh at me. It's okay. Probably behind my back. But it's okay, because at the end of the day, we beat the market, and we do the exact same thing. I just do it differently from them. They're like, oh, that young kid over there doing the Bitcoin thing. I digress. However, what I know for a fact is that I talk to lots of asset managers and professional traders who don't trade cryptocurrency and will not trade cryptocurrency because of the problems that I just highlighted. Your deposits are not secure. There is very few professional traders who are going to take, and what is a professional trader? Professional trader is generally somebody that trades other people's money professionally. There are very few people who are going to expose their clients to the risk of having non-underwritten deposits on exchanges. Now, when we come to crypto, that is just part of the game. So there's going to be hedge funds that will give you money. There are going to be individuals that are going to give you money and understand the risk involved with cryptocurrency. So you just have to find the right people. And there's lots and lots and lots of them out there. That number of people will exponentially increase the more regulated, I don't want to say regulated, but the more traditional setup that we have, for example, when our cryptocurrency deposits are actually underwritten in our native currency, which, just letting you guys know, for the price of Bitcoin and for volatility and for liquidity and for trading, is what we want. It's good. So their solution is an end-to-end regulated environment offering qualified custody of Bitcoin with contracts traded on federally regulated markets. So this is exactly what we're talking about with Bakkt. You're going to have federally regulated markets. You're going to have end-to-end regulated environment. The custody is going to be held by somebody who's licensed, and all that's going to be taken care of. Untrusted. So second problem. Untrusted price discovery mechanisms where the price of Bitcoin varies widely from platform to platform. Their solution to this is a physical delivery contract where the settlement price is based on our futures market only with no exposure to spot markets, creating for the first time a true price discovery contract. So there's a few things that I want to talk about there. The first thing is that there are parts of this that aren't 100% true. There's a few things. Dutch crypto overview. Would a trader really bother for Bakkt since we have futures for 1.5 years now? Yes, for the reasons that I just laid out. Having your deposits of your investors' money secure, because we don't currently have that. So let's talk about arbitrage real quick. Now, the cryptocurrency markets, as revealed by the Bitwise report, are extremely efficient. We do not have massive spreads on Bitcoin's price across exchanges. Arbitrage is extremely efficient. If you look at the last flash dump that occurred after the BitMEX TetherFud news came out, and again, if you guys haven't seen my BitMEX TetherFud explained by a professional trader video, I highly recommend that you go check that out. Just do a YouTube search for it or a Google search for it. I think if you Google search BitMEX TetherFud, it's the first video that comes up. King Bowser Koopa. If you haven't checked out Bit7, you should for leverage. So much easier not to get liquidated. I think it's perfect for beginners. So I don't really like Bit7, and I'll be 100% honest. I haven't really looked into it, but there are problems that I have with it, and I don't really want to go into those on stream. The exchange that I figured out, or that I have migrated to after after BitMEX, after I moved the majority of my capital off of BitMEX, and I still do trade on BitMEX for the purposes of altcoins, is ByBit. They're just much better, man. Take a look at Link. Yeah, we spent like 15-20 minutes talking about Link, Gary. There are going to be timestamps after the show is concluded, so you'll be able to easily find the part where we talked about Link. So the fact that there is a problem with what they're claiming here, that having a physically delivered futures contract is going to help in that aspect. Now, there are parts of that are true. So hold on, let me break that down a little bit more. The fact that this is needed because price of Bitcoin varies widely from platform to platform is not necessarily true. We have an extremely efficient market, and in general, our arbitraging and the way that our exchanges are designed, self-regulated, works very efficiently. We don't have insane price variance from exchange to exchange. So just to repeat myself and make sure that that's very clear. So that second statement of the left-hand column is slightly misleading and slightly untrue. However, I cannot disagree that having a physically delivered contract that has no exposure to spot markets would be a better source of price discovery. Of what? Problem 3, pervasive, manipulative, and fraudulent trading in crypto spot markets. This is a huge problem. For example, if we look at the Bitwise report, we know that a vast majority of volume reported by exchanges is untrue. We know that it is fraudulent, wash trading, and fake volume. This becomes a significant problem for a trader who looks at something like crypto market cap, who looks at something like the volatility index, who looks at Vigor, who looks at any other coin, who just looks at volume by exchanges and decides, you know what, I've got $15,000, $20,000, $50,000, I've got $5,000, I've got $1,000. Look at how high these coins are pumping on these exchanges, like, HitBTC, which is the devil, or whatever they happen to be, right? Trade Satoshi, all these Coin Ogre, all these other exchanges, right, that are typically fly-by-night exchanges. And they decide to slide on there, and they wonder why they're paying such huge slippage. They wonder why they're paying such a high spread. They wonder why their orders aren't getting filled. It's because the volume that is being reported by the vast majority of these exchanges is not accurate, right? There's a lot of manipulation that is going on in the cryptocurrency markets as far as exchanges reporting volume. Now, what are the exchanges that we know are accurately reporting volume? Okay, well, they're Bitfinex, Binance, Coinbase, There's a few other ones. Bitstamp. So the Bitwise top 10, all right? The Bitwise top 10. Just about if they're not in that top 10, for the most part, Bitwise has concluded that they are reporting fake volume. And I just know anecdotally that this almost has to be almost always true, all the way true. May not be 100% true, right? But it's pretty true. Because I know from experience that the volume that the exchanges report are there on these smaller exchanges, when I, as a larger capital trader, go in to execute a position, that volume ain't fucking there. And I know when I go to enter into a trade. I can calculate what the slippage was based off how much volume was reported, how many bids and asks were at there. I can see the way that the market movers push price. Come on, man. You can't fool a professional trader with fake numbers, right? All I have to do is go on there and try to trade, and I can tell you right away, this platform's on BS. So this is a problem. So their solution is federally regulated exchange where futures contracts are subject to extensive market compliance and surveillance procedures, and market misconduct is investigated and reported to federal regulators. So I like that. I think that's much better than what we currently have. Now, let's be honest. Exchanges like Bitfinex and Coinbase and Binance, to a degree, have already implemented their own market compliance and surveillance procedures. Bitfinex actually spent a whole lot of money on theirs, but there's no oversight on them. There's no oversight on them, and there's no federal regulation. Which, again, say what you will. Again, I lean toward anarcho-capitalism. However, I'm not going to deny and say that for a trader, there's more opportunity for me with more security. Problem number 4, lax compliance means participants are not screened consistently or to sufficiently high standards. Solution, all customers desiring to trade the Bitcoin futures contract complete federally regulated anti-money laundering practices and KYC requirements that are in place due to FCM standards applied across institutional markets. You're going to get that no matter where you go. I think this one's bullshit. Anybody should be able to trade. KYC is bullshit. Just is what it is. Number 5, counterparty risk is unconstrained in cash crypto markets across trading and custody. This is true. This is true because there's not a clearinghouse there to protect your interests. And the clearinghouse is not there to protect your interests. They're there to protect their interests and make profit, but it's better. So their solution is a clearinghouse stands in between the buyer and seller where collateral is collected to cover counterparty risk, and a risk waterfall is available to cover any shortfall upon liquidation in excess of the collateral posted. The waterfall includes a $35 million contribution by ICE specifically for the Bitcoin contracts on the futures exchange. You know, Binance has their Seifu funds, but nobody knows how much they are or what the exchange account number is or that they're guaranteed. It's kind of at their fiat declaration. So this is better. And the rest of this is just in general pretty much going over that, you know, mitigating flash crashes, mitigating, transactions in custody, mitigating security incidents and reporting, potential for conflicts of interest between venues and customers. That's a huge one, conflicts of interest, right? Because BitMEX, Binance, they're all dealing desk operations, right? They're all taking, they're pretty much all, so not Binance because they don't have margin, but BitMEX assuredly is a dealing desk operation. So they are taking the opposite side of the trade from you, 100%. So anyways, guys, this is pretty huge. July 22nd, Bakkt is going to be launching their futures contract, or not their futures contract. They're testing for investor compliance. Now, for those of you who can read Mandarin, John Libby says, why is no one talking about the death cross on Bitcoin? Because death crosses are not statistically significant on any time frame. I like this Chinese dude jumping. So this comes from, hold on, I'm going to have to bust out my Mandarin glasses. This comes from the Global Times, and by Chinese glasses, I'm talking about Google Translate. So this comes from the Global Market, which is a Chinese paper. And for those of you who can't read this, let's go look at these images. And this basically what's going on here is that police in China have reportedly gathered evidence that individuals are using fishing ponds to lay cables to siphon energy from oil well miners to power their Bitcoin mining. Okay, so individuals are individuals are literally like making fishing ponds or using fishing ponds to like well, I'm in Brave browser, so I can't use Google Translate. It's hard right here on the screen unless somebody knows something that I don't. People in China are laying you know, power lines, you know, underneath these fishing ponds to just tap energy from oil wells to power the Bitcoin mining. This is pretty freaking fantastic, honestly. If you want my opinion, it's just awesome. What is the world coming to? All right, so some more cool fundamental news. IBM and Walmart are teaming up together. Just right click on the page. Oh, cool. Can't do it. Guess I can do it. Translation in progress. I'll just let you cook for a minute. Still translating? Oh, I gotta leave it there. I gotta select the text. No. Moving on. All right, so IBM and Walmart are piloting a blockchain network for and these people are the bread and butter. So IBM and Walmart are piloting a blockchain to track pharmaceutical drugs to track pharmaceutical drug delivery and manufacturing and transportation. Now, to be honest with you, this is something that I've been really, really excited about for a long time. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have had your personal life affected by prescription drugs. And I don't mean that in the way that you might think. But what I mean by that is the fact that my family, especially my mother and my father, are elderly and they're dealing with health issues. And so to a large degree, they rely a lot on pharmaceutical medications for their quality of life and for their continued existence on this earth, as well as everything positive that we can do as far as holistic and diet and exercise and energy and everything that we can possibly do to make their lives better. But there are just, you get to a certain age when you've done certain things through your life and you have certain health problems or diseases that if you don't have these pharmaceutical drugs, you're just not going to have as good of a time, or if live at all. So, for example, my father is on a VAD, and because he is on a VAD, again, there's only 10,000 people in the world that have a VAD. It's a heart device. Because of that, he has to be on blood thinners. Otherwise, his blood is going to clog up the VAD device. If he is not on those blood thinners, his heart no longer pumps. He does not live. Okay? Because I don't know if you guys knew, but your heart needs to pump blood throughout your body's extremities to continue living. So, anyways, this is a concept that I am actually really excited about. You guys know sometimes I may come off as having a negative stance on other altcoins. And when it comes to investments, I think a lot of things like ICOs and things like that are not good ideas. But, and again, I have no problem with investing in altcoins in general, having a basket of investments as part of your diversified portfolio. That's what I do, actually. So, but in this concept is something that is going to make the world a better place. Using the blockchain for a hey, we're creating something that's like Bitcoin and please like buy stuff for us, no, blah, blah, blah. But something like this that is public and verifiable and quicker is really good. And the problem with the database is centralized control. So if the database, live Bitcoin trading, and there's nothing more than I love than for you to come in here every day with your cynicism and sarcastic remarks, is the fact that if a pharmaceutical company is maintaining the database, or if a government regulatory agency is maintaining the database, and we know that governments are easily manipulated by large money interests, then the problem becomes one of centralized control, because databases can just be manipulated to reflect the data that you want. Okay? You just start paying people off, and it becomes to whom is invested the power to modify this database. The blockchain does not have that problem. That's why things like this, where people's lives depend on the delivery, purity, and transportation of pharmaceutical drugs, for example, in this particular situation, there's nothing there. I don't see a better concept than this. This is exactly the type of thing that the blockchain was designed for, to sidestep the potential of human manipulation with data that is so valuable and so important. So this is pretty neat to me. These are concepts that I think are really fantastic for the quality of human life, for the further progress of technological innovation, and honestly, for blockchain in general, and even, other things, not other things, but for things like Bitcoin and other altcoins that are fundamentally good, to have more widespread adoption and security. When regular normal people who are not in the crypto space hear this and this becomes just a normal thing, like, hey, by the way, did you know that all our cell phone bills are on the blockchain now and all our prescription drugs are tracked on the blockchain, for example, now? It makes them more open to the concept that, hey, let me get that cheeseburger, man. I'll give you some Bitcoin. Well, okay, yeah. Whereas opposed to, yeah, okay, it was Bitcoin, man. Who takes that? I can't use that anywhere. And a lot of people still think that way. People who are in crypto think, for example, that crypto is everything. Most of the world doesn't give two shits about crypto, to be honest with you. Most people have no idea. And we've got a lot of work ahead of us, man, to really spread adoption and spread these ideas. Okay, so I don't see how adding blockchain just clouds it. Adding blockchain is what unclouds it, just in my opinion. Because again, correct me where I go astray, but I think that the database concept is the clouding because it's open to manipulation. And thank you, Elijah. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your kind wishes about my father. Having a centralized database is easy to manipulate. Having a blockchain is not. So, as far as the token goes, the token doesn't bother me. It will bother me if you can buy and sell the token. I think that that's nonsense. If it's going to be used as a security, that's nonsense. And it will bother me if they have an ICO. So I haven't read this article. I'm just talking about the headline. So, the way that it might work out, for example, right now, the way that they may put this into practice might be a problem. Like this particular implementation of it might be a problem if that's really what they want to do. But just the concept of using the blockchain in this way, because this is what the blockchain was designed to do, to remove manipulation. Soup Terp says, I work in the weed industry where it would be ideal, but no one looks at it or would have crypto to spend in this town. Wait 10 years, man. Wait 10 years. Future, brother. And then, of course, we talked about Chainlink partnering with Google. Well, that's kind of my point, too, live Bitcoin trading, is that the reason that I'm talking about that is because, and the qualification that I just made is, if this becomes an altcoin, no. But that's my point. Blockchains are designed to make the world a better place, and using them in this fashion is what they're supposed to be used to be done. Jaguar partnerships and, blah, 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 blah. Maybe not so much. But I challenge you to rethink that, man, because, for example, I'm a professional trader in this space, and I trade all altcoins on Binance and ByBit and BitMEX. And if I only traded Bitcoin, I would not be able to do this. There's not always a trade to take on Bitcoin. And when there's not a trade to take on Bitcoin, there's a couple hundred other coins that we can take trades on. So, for example, any Forex trader would get laughed out of a room if you came into a meeting of Forex traders, if there were such a thing, which there is, but and said, yeah, man, I only trade the euro dollar. Like, are you fucking serious? Why? Why limit yourself to one asset? There's nothing special about Bitcoin as far as the marketplace goes. Price goes up, price goes down. You can buy it and you can sell it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to, there's not a lot of alts that I like either, but I definitely don't restrict myself from what can make me money. So, okay, let me take a look here, see? Oh, yeah, I did want to talk on this real quick. Sorry, let me bring this one up. There we go. Found it. So, as I said in the intro, hackers circle crypto giant BitMEX as unauthorized login attempt spike. So, listen, guys, we're just going to run through this article real quick, as supported by CCN here. So, BitMEX has just issued an advisory telling its customers that they are seeing a huge increase in attempts to access customer accounts. So, make sure that if you're trading on BitMEX, that you are taking proper precautions. It's a great time to upgrade your password, to make sure that you have two-factor authentication on, to make sure that you are using leverage appropriately and potentially reduce your downside exposure on BitMEX by making sure that you have enough capital on there to take the right amount of trades. But if you just have excess capital above and beyond that, just chilling on there that you do not need to have on there, maybe move it into cold storage. Might be a good time to just do a house cleaning of your account status on BitMEX. There's no reason to have $10,000 on there if you're using 10x leverage, and you can just keep $2,000 on there and take the right position size, okay? So just a public service announcement. Make sure that your security settings are always up to date and right. Make sure you have two-factor authentication on your exchange account and the associated email account. Make sure that you are using a unique email address for each exchange account that you have. Make sure that you're using a strong password, and make sure if you're using a password manager that you do not leave it logged in. Okay, any decent password manager you can set to timeout after 5, 10, 15 minutes. Make sure you do that. Don't get lazy. Okay, moving right along. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another fantastic episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. I hope you guys go on to have a very safe day of trading. I hope that you guys don't do anything impulsive or reckless. There are hundreds of days, thousands of days ahead of us in our cryptocurrency trading career, and there's no reason to make any mistakes today at a critical point in time. Now, if you guys consider digital privacy and security as important as keeping your BitMEX account secure and private, and you want to keep track, not really keep track, but filter out how much data you are letting of your personal self clutter the internet, then I highly recommend that you always use a VPN when connecting to the internet. I always have a VPN on. I trade behind a VPN. I access the website behind a VPN. I do the show behind a VPN because my digital privacy and security is absolutely paramount. If you would like to use the best, in my opinion, VPN in the United States or whatever country you happen to be from, then I highly recommend you check out Windscribe. You guys can head over to windscribe.crackingcryptocurrency.com to use our link. It will give you some free bandwidth if you'd like to check out the platform. I upgraded to premium a long time ago. It is highly worth it. You can pay in cryptocurrency. You can register an anonymous account. There's no KYC or anything like that. So if you don't want Windscribe to know who you are, they don't need to know who you are. You can pay them anonymously with various cryptocurrencies. Again, almost died there. That's windscribe.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Windscribe.crackingcryptocurrency.com. All right, guys. Now, are you often busy and do you miss the live show? Well, you might want to check out the Breaking Bitcoin podcast. Scott has been putting in man-hours over the past month and has gotten our website set up to showcase the podcast in all its glory. We are currently doing the beta rollout phase. That's right. You can head over to breakingbitcoin.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's breakingbitcoin.crackingcryptocurrency.com and see the current past shows and today's show up in just a little bit. I'll crack the whip and make sure Scott gets to uploading the 100+ backlog of videos to get on there right now. But there you will see the links to subscribe on your favorite podcatcher of choice. Right now, we're on Google Music, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, seems to be live and working with iTunes, iHeartRadio, and a few more coming soon as they are approved. Let us know if you have a favorite podcatcher you'd like us to add, and we'll see if they're approved. Otherwise, you may be able to manually add it into your favorite catcher by clicking the RSS feed, audio or video, links on the Breaking Bitcoin show page. All right, guys, if this has been your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe or give us a follow if you happen to be watching on Twitch or D Live, and shout out to you guys. I love the live streaming audience. If you're watching on Facebook, you can also give us a thumbs up, and make sure, whatever platform you're watching us on, to share us around to your family, your friends, even people you don't even like, because regardless of where you stand on cryptocurrency, the information that we produce on the show on a daily basis for you guys is important. Of course, you guys can always catch us here at the same time, Monday through Friday, noon to 2, and on the weekends from 5 to 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Of course, my name is Justin Wise, your host, lead analyst, and senior mentor. And until next time, guys, trade safely, and I'll catch you in the next one.